Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into something we all deal with every single day, our attitude.
Yeah.
We're going to be checking out Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything.
Okay.
It's all about how changing our mindset can lead to, well, pretty big changes in our lives.
Right. And Keller's own story is a perfect example, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was a lawyer, felt totally unfulfilled,
Yeah.
and then, bam, becomes this successful motivational speaker.
Wow, what a change. But you know what really struck me? It's when Keller talks about the moment his whole perspective shifted.
Oh, interesting.
He realized he was so focused on the stuff he hated about being a lawyer, but he could actually choose to focus on, well, what he could control.
Makes sense.
His attitude.
And that's like the foundation of
Yeah.
his message. We have the power, all of us, to choose our attitude. It doesn't matter what's going on around us.
No matter what, huh?
Yeah, he uses this really cool analogy, a dirty window, like negativity, all that gunk, just blocking our view.
Oh, I get it. So like cleaning that window helps us see the possibilities that were always there.
It's like when you finally clean those smudged glasses, right?
Totally.
Suddenly, boom, things are brighter, clearer. And that's what shifting our attitude can do.
Keller brings up a really powerful story to show just how much power we have.
Oh, yeah.
Viktor Frankl. He survived the Holocaust.
Wow.
But even in a concentration camp,
Can't even imagine.
he chose to hold on to hope and purpose.
That's that story really shows you that no matter how tough things get, we always have a choice.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think, okay, so we get it. Attitude is important.
Uh-huh.
But how do we actually make that shift?
Well, Keller has this three-part framework, right?
Okay.
Success begins in the mind, watch your words, and heaven helps those who act.
Got it.
But he says attitude is the foundation, like the bedrock.
It's like if you're building a house,
Yeah.
you need a solid foundation. Otherwise, the whole thing's going to crumble.
Absolutely. And one of the most powerful tools Keller talks about is visualization.
Visualization.
Picturing what you want.
Okay.
He talks about Jim Carrey back when he was just starting out.
Yeah.
He wrote himself a check for $10 million.
$10 million.
Dated it 10 years in the future. And guess what?
What?
10 years later, boom, he makes that much from Dumb and Dumber.
No way. So is this like some magic trick?
Well, not magic, but when you visualize, you're basically telling your subconscious mind, this is what we're going for.
So it's like creating a mental blueprint for our brains to follow.
Exactly. And the more details you put in, the more you feel it,
Uh-huh.
the more powerful it gets.
Keller also suggests using visual reminders.
Oh, yeah, great idea.
Like putting a picture of my dream house on the fridge or making a vision board.
It's like a constant nudge to keep your goals front and center.
Keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
So let's say I've got my goals all visualized.
Okay.
Feeling good, feeling motivated. What's next?
Commitment, my friend. Unwavering commitment.
Okay, got it.
He tells this story about Jerry Gladstone.
Oh, yeah.
Guy spent 3 years, can you believe it?
3 years.
Trying to convince Disney to let him sell their artwork. Rejected over and over.
Wow, most people would have given up way before 3 years.
Right. But Gladstone knew that real commitment.
Yeah.
It attracts resources, opens doors you never thought possible.
So what was his secret? How did he finally get through to Disney?
He focused on how his idea would benefit them, not just what he wanted. He pitched it as a way to make Disney more money, improve their image.
He framed it in a way that met their needs.
Exactly. And guess what? It worked. He landed the deal.
Wow, that's inspiring. Shows what can happen when you combine commitment with a little strategic thinking.
Absolutely.
But life's not always sunshine and roses. We all hit bumps in the road.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So how do we deal with those tough times?
That's where Keller's advice on turning problems into opportunities comes in.
Hold on, wait, how can we see a problem as an opportunity?
Well, he tells this story about Dave Bruno, a guy who lost his job, got in a near-fatal car accident, and went bankrupt.
All at the same time. Ouch.
Yeah, all within a really short period.
That's rough.
But Bruno, he didn't let those things defeat him.
What do you do?
While he was recovering, he started brainstorming, came up with this idea for a business selling those inspirational quote cards.
Get out of here. So he actually turned his misfortune into a successful business.
Exactly. Shows you that we may not control what happens to us, but
Yeah.
we can control how we react.
It's about finding that silver lining, seeing the potential for growth, even when things are falling apart.
You got it. And sometimes those challenges lead to amazing opportunities,
Yeah.
things we never would have imagined.
Keller then jumps into something that's so important, but we often don't pay attention to it.
What's that?
Our words. He says the words we use can either help us or hurt us.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He talks about it like a domino effect.
Domino effect.
Yeah, our thoughts create our words create our beliefs, and those beliefs shape our actions.
Right.
And those actions lead to our results.
So if we want to change our results...
We got to start with our thoughts and the language we use.
Exactly. And he's not just talking about those positive affirmations.
Yeah.
It's about noticing that negative self-talk, the stuff that holds us back.
Oh, the stuff we tell ourselves.
He even shares his own story. He used to say, "I'm bad at fixing things all the time."
Did he really?
And guess what? He convinced himself he couldn't fix anything around the house.
Wow, so even something that seems harmless,
Yeah.
if we say it enough, can become like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right, because our words have power. They shape our reality.
So if you keep telling yourself you're not good at something,
You're less likely to succeed.
it's like setting yourself up for failure before you even start.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all starting to click. But how do we become more aware of that inner voice? And how do we make it more positive?
Well, Keller's got some great techniques for that. We'll get into those in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've been talking about our thoughts, our words, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Now Keller gets into something that I think is, well, it's kind of a big deal for everyone.
Okay.
The company we keep.
Ah, yes. Who we hang out with.
He talks about this idea of associating with positive people.
This is where he brings up the sponge analogy, right?
The sponge.
Like we're always absorbing stuff from the people around us,
Yeah.
their attitudes, their beliefs.
Mhm.
It all rubs off on us. Like a sponge soaks up liquid.
So if you're hanging out with negative people all the time,
Yeah, you're going to start feeling negative too.
it's kind of like listening to a sad song over and over. Eventually, you just feel down.
Exactly. But on the other hand, if you're with positive, supportive people,
Yeah.
you're going to feel more optimistic, more motivated.
And Keller doesn't mess around here.
No.
He actually says we might need to limit our time with negative people.
Oh, wow. Even if they're like close friends or family.
He says it's not about abandoning them.
Okay.
It's about protecting our own mental and emotional well-being.
I see. So it's like you wouldn't hang out with someone who has the flu.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to catch that negativity.
Makes sense.
It makes me think of that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
If those 5 people are always complaining, focusing on the bad stuff,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough to stay positive yourself.
No kidding. And it's not just about feeling good, right?
Right.
Keller says who we hang out with can actually impact our success.
Really?
Yeah, he tells this story about his friend Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Mike used to hang out with these guys who were, well, they were content with being average.
Okay.
And Mike, he wanted more out of life.
Yeah.
But he was too scared to, step outside his comfort zone.
Because of his friends.
Yeah, they were holding him back.
Wow.
But then Mike finally decides to distance himself from those negative friends.
Good for him.
And he starts spending time with people who are, more ambitious, more supportive.
What happened?
His life changed completely. He started taking risks, going after his passions, achieving things he never thought possible.
That's incredible. Just by changing who we hung out with.
Exactly. It's amazing how much our social environment can affect us.
And this applies to work too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about your workplace.
Yeah.
Are you spending your lunch break listening to gossip and complaints?
Yeah, I've been there.
Or are you with colleagues
Yeah.
who inspire you, motivate you?
I've definitely experienced both.
And it makes a huge difference.
Huge. When I'm surrounded by positive, passionate people,
Yeah.
I'm way more productive, way more engaged in my work.
It's like the difference between working in a dark room versus a bright, sunny one.
Totally.
Positive energy is contagious.
So how do we actually create that kind of positive social circle?
Well, Keller gives some good advice.
Like what?
He suggests joining groups, organizations that align with your interests. It could be a book club, a professional group, a volunteer organization, whatever you're into.
So put yourself in situations where you're likely to meet like-minded people.
Exactly. He also talks about being a good listener, genuinely showing interest in other people. People are drawn to that.
So it's not just about finding positive people, it's
Yeah.
about being a positive person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And building those genuine connections, based on respect and support.
Okay, so we've covered thoughts, words, and now who we hang out with.
Uh-huh.
What's next? What else does Keller say about creating a more positive attitude?
He says we need to confront our fears.
Confront our fears.
Yeah, like head on. He says that stepping outside our comfort zone,
Yeah.
that's how we grow.
Yeah.
And often Success is waiting for us on the other side of that fear.
Oh, this one's tough for me. I'm terrified of public speaking. Like, my heart races just thinking about it.
Really? Keller used to be terrified of public speaking, too.
No way. The guy who speaks to thousands of people now.
Yeah, the same guy.
So how did he get over it?
He acknowledged the fear,
Okay.
but he didn't let it control him. He started small,
Yeah.
practiced in front of a mirror, then with a few friends, gradually worked his way up to bigger audiences.
So, like, baby steps.
Exactly. And he says the moment we choose to face our fears, we've already won.
Really? Even if we don't, like, nail it.
Even if we mess up.
Mm-mm.
Because just the act of trying, of stepping outside that comfort zone,
Yeah.
that's a victory in itself.
Wow, that's a really powerful way to think about it. It's not about being perfect. It's about having the courage to try.
Exactly. And he points out that what scares one person might not scare another.
Right, we all have different fears.
So it's about figuring out your own personal fears
Mm-hmm.
and then taking those small steps to move through them.
Pushing your own boundaries, not someone else's.
Exactly. And even the most successful people, they have fears too.
Really?
They just don't let those fears stop them. They figure out how to manage them and keep going.
Keller talks about this woman, Dottie Berman. She was a high school English teacher for 32 years.
Wow.
But her dream was to be a performer.
So what did she do?
She finally decided to go for it, even though it was scary.
That's awesome.
And guess what? She faced a ton of rejection at first.
Really?
Went to tons of auditions, heard no over and over.
That's rough.
But she didn't give up.
Good for her.
And now she's living her dream, performing on cruise ships all over the world.
That's so inspiring. Shows it's never too late to chase your dreams.
It's never too late.
Then Keller dives into something most people try to avoid.
Oh, what's that?
Failure.
Oof. Yeah.
But he says we need to reframe it,
Reframe it.
See it not as the end, but as a chance to learn.
It's like that saying, you either win or you learn.
Exactly. There's no such thing as failure if we learn from it.
He tells the story about Sally Jesse Raphael.
Oh, yeah, the talk show host.
Yeah, she went through a lot of tough times before she became successful.
Like what?
She was fired 18 times.
18 times.
Moved 25 times looking for work.
Wow.
Even had to rely on food stamps at one point.
I had no idea.
It would have been so easy to just give up.
Yeah, for sure.
But she kept going.
Wow.
She knew what she wanted, and she was determined to achieve it no matter what.
That's amazing.
And eventually, it paid off. She got her own talk show, became super successful.
It's proof that persistence pays off, right?
Totally. It's about how we respond to those challenges.
He uses professional baseball players as an example.
Baseball.
Yeah, a player who gets 3 hits out of 10 at-bats is considered a star.
Really?
That means they're failing 70% of the time.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
But the successful players, they don't focus on the strikeouts.
Okay.
They use each at-bat as a chance to learn. They adjust. They keep swinging.
So it's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning from it.
Exactly. And Keller also talks about having a long-term perspective.
Okay.
Like, we get discouraged when we don't see results right away.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But real success takes time. Persistence.
Mm-hmm.
A willingness to learn from our mistakes.
Makes sense.
He tells this story about the guys who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, I love those books.
Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen.
Okay.
Their book was rejected by 33 publishers
33.
before they finally found one who said yes.
I don't know if I could handle that many rejections.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
But they believed in their book.
Yeah.
They knew it could help people.
Yeah.
And they were committed to sharing it with the world.
And look at them now.
Over 500 million copies sold. All because they didn't give up.
It's incredible.
So we've talked about facing our fears, embracing failure. What else does Keller say we can do to create a more positive attitude?
So we've talked about a lot, right? From actually choosing our attitude to seeing challenges in a new light, even like embracing those failures. What else does Keller have for us in this last part?
Well, he brings it all together with networking.
Networking.
But he doesn't mean, like that whole business card, thing. He defines it as developing those relationships that benefit everyone involved.
Okay, that makes it less intimidating. I think a lot of people, they hear networking and they think like awkward cocktail parties.
Exactly. But Keller says networking can happen anywhere. It's all about those genuine connections.
Yeah.
With people who share our passions,
Okay.
our values, even our struggles,
He shares a story about how he met this freelance copywriter,
Oh, yeah.
Stu Kamen, and it led to all these amazing things for his business.
What I find interesting is that it wasn't like some planned networking strategy.
Right.
It was just a genuine connection that, grew into something that helped both of them.
I see. So the takeaway is to approach networking with like a giving mindset.
Exactly. Focus on how you can help others.
So it's not what can I get from this person,
Right.
but how can I contribute?
You got it. And when we focus on that, well, everyone benefits.
It makes me think of that saying, your network is your net worth.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, climbing the ladder at work.
Right.
Networking can make our personal lives richer, too.
How so?
It's about finding those people who inspire us,
Yeah.
challenge us, make us feel supported.
So whether we're finding a mentor,
Yeah.
joining a book club, or even just chatting with someone new,
Right. All those connections, they can have a big impact on how we feel,
a sense of belonging. It feels like that's what Attitude is Everything is really all about.
Yeah.
Understanding that we have the power to shape our own lives by choosing our thoughts, our words, our actions.
And our connections.
Exactly. Keller's book is amazing. So many practical tips, inspiring stories. It's a guide to living a better life.
What I like is that he doesn't, act like he's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
He's honest about his own struggles, which I think makes his message even more powerful.
It's like he's saying, hey, I'm still learning too, but I've seen how these principles work. And he has all these stories of people who've, faced tough times and come out stronger. Those stories really stick with you.
They give you hope.
Yeah, they remind you that change is possible.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I'm curious, what stood out to you the most?
I think what's so powerful about Keller's message is that it gives us a sense of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, life throws curveballs,
Uh-huh.
but we get to decide how we react.
We have a choice.
Right. We can either dwell on the negative
Yeah.
or look for that opportunity, even in the hard times.
And he gives us actual tools, real ways to shift our mindset.
Exactly. It's not just like positive thinking. It's about actually doing something.
Taking action.
So I'd say think about what you've learned from this deep dive.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today to make my attitude a little bit more positive?
Maybe it's like starting your day with gratitude.
Yeah.
Or noticing that negative self-talk and replacing it with something more positive. Or maybe it's reaching out to someone who inspires you.
Or finally going after that goal you've been putting off.
Whatever it is, even those small changes in our thinking can make a big difference in our lives.
And in the lives of the people around us.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear what resonated with you. You can connect with us on social media, share your thoughts. And remember, attitude really is everything.